Welcome to FOXSOUL's Black Report. This is the space for reading Black America's headline news, views, and opinions. I'm Romeo.
Hey there, I'm Brooke.
I'm Demi.
Peace and love, soulmates. I'm Niel.
All right, it is Thursday. One more wake up if you work Monday through Friday. On today's report, a Georgia school suspends black students for a planned protest against a protest. And Danny Bakewell Sr. is here to discuss the importance of the black press and this year's Taste of Soul.
Jakari Harris, Executive Director of the George Floyd Memorial Foundation, and George Floyd's sister, Bridget Floyd, founder of the foundation. They join us to talk about how they plan to turn pain into activism. We also talk prison reform, and we share with you a new campaign that mixes art and activism with Pamela Taylor. Also, Senior VP for Share Our Strength and award-winning artist, Desiree Kelly.
Soulmates, we have that and so much more because it's our voice and our truth, so let's talk about it.
Hey Soulmates, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Let's get to our top stories. Several black students at the Coosa High School in Rome, Georgia say they've been suspended for planning a protest against the Confederate flag. So CBS is reporting black students at the school were upset last week when they say a group of white students came to school wearing the Confederate flag, waving it, and hurling racial slurs. We're told the school thwarted a potential protest against that and suspended the students who were in the process of organizing it. Also in the report, student organizer Jalen Murray says the school shouldn't allow students to brandish the Confederate flag, especially since it doesn't allow students to wear Black Lives Matter apparel. So this is their issue here. They feel as if the Confederate flag moment was a protest. They say the students walked in and they wanted to protest, which kind of, similarly like matches what we've been seeing at school board meetings, right, nationwide. And so they're saying students came in with the Confederate flag, yelling slurs. It was a planned event. And so they, in turn, wanted to protest not only what they felt like was hate, but a counter protest. They wanted to do the same, essentially, and got shut down.
Got shut down. Unbelievable. This is what I call a teaching moment, right? We're talking about a school here. We're talking about a school that's obviously divided, a city, maybe even a community, a state. But now instead of sitting down, letting the children speak their mind, because sometimes we can actually learn from our kids, this happens, and then they suspend the black students. So what does that say to us? What does that say to that community, the black people that live there, that go to that school, to the athletes that play for that school, right? What does it say? It continues to divide the city, and that's why this country has a big problem on their hands.
Well, Romeo, what it says to those students is that you're afraid of black people. It says that we're not afraid when the white students want to brandish a Confederate flag and be disrespectful, totally disrespectful. We're afraid of the black people, though, when they come in and use their voice to protest. And I was really happy to hear that the NAACP has decided to go and speak with leaders and even parents of students at this school to hopefully get down to the bottom of it, because this is absolutely a problem that it's all right for the white students to protest, but not okay for the black students to do the same.
And they denied these students their First Amendment right. I mean, and they're in a school learning about things that pertain to our country. And what do? They can't wear their Black Lives Matter apparel, and then they want to protest, and they deny them their First Amendment rights. So, I mean, I think that the NAACP was right to step in and advocate on these young people's behalf. Now let's move to Georgia, where Georgia Republican U.S. Senate candidate Herschel Walker has called off a fundraiser which had been scheduled for Saturday in Texas because an organizer was displaying a swastika made of syringes in her social media profile to protest the mandatory COVID-19 vaccination. Now, a campaign spokesperson said Herschel is a strong friend of Israel and the Jewish community and opposes hatred and bigotry of all forms. The campaign had earlier denied that the symbol was a swastika. Now, come on, Herschel Walker, what did you think? You're running on a Republican ticket. We know that Donald Trump has hijacked the Republican Party, and a lot of those people in that party represent the Confederate flag, they represent the KKK, and they represent the most nastiest parts of this country's history. So I would say to Herschel Walker, get ready for more, bro.
I agree with you. And when you think about the situation, I have a couple things. First things first, it doesn't matter if he wants to run because isn't Trump going to tell all the Republicans not to vote anyway? So is there even going to be a campaign coming up?
Right, he did say that.
Right, he did say that, right?
That, yeah.
So I may say that jokingly, but he did. You can do the research on that. But on top of that, is Herschel Walker going to be one that's going to listen and follow Trump's suit? That's the question I have. Like, if he does get in.
The answer appears to be yes.
It does it?
I mean, it appears so. It appears that's almost like something that he's happy about. He's proud of. Like, listen, I want to come in and continue this agenda. This is my guy. I believe in him.
Right.
So it appears so. Obviously, who knows what would actually happen in practice, but.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, you know, I just thought it was interesting that the woman, Bettina Sofia Viviano, she had it in her Twitter bio, but then when the news came out, she immediately deleted it. And so my thing is, where was the same energy? If you wanted to feel how you feel about anti-vaccine, you said it was, you know, it looked like it was, you know, the symbol and made of syringes, like you said. Where's that same energy when the news comes out and everybody starts slamming your Twitter page? Where is that same energy? So were you doing this just to get attention, or do you really feel that way? Second of all, every time we talk about Herschel Walker, it upsets me because it seems as if we talk about cancel culture and everything like that. The Texas versus Georgia, where he really lives, him voting. Have we forgotten about his alleged history with abusing women? I mean, are we just forgetting all of this? Is it just because he's black we're giving him a pass? I don't even know why we even still talk about Herschel Walker. He should not even be considered eligible with all of the things that he's done in the past.
Well, the Republican Party is using him because let's remember he's running against Raphael Warnock, who just got that Senate seat. So what they're trying to do is confuse people and put another black person up against him to kind of split the vote. And so it's going to be really important that people like Stacey Abrams from Fair Fight when we all vote, come in to Georgia and help Warnock put it over the top so that he can continue to do and advocate for black people on Capitol Hill.
All right. Stay woke is what I will say about Herschel Walker. Okay, now taking it to Chicago, civil rights activist, retired Chicago professor, and historian Timuel Black has died sadly at the age of 102. Black died on Wednesday, and his widow told the Chicago Sun-Times and WLS-TV that the details they did not tell the details, immediately to the public. Now, civil rights leader Reverend Jesse Jackson was one of the many who expressed sadness over Black's passing, calling him a tall tree in the civil rights forest. That's beautiful. He was considered an authority on the migration of Southern blacks to the northern cities. They fled the South for better opportunities, education, jobs, housing, as well as the right to vote. Black one said instead they were ghettoized by landlords determined not to rent or sell to Negroes. Former President Barack Obama, he said in a statement that Black was a testament to the power of place and how the work we do to improve one community can end up reverberating through other neighborhoods and other cities, eventually changing the world. An icon, he was considered the city's unofficial chief historian. That is what a lot of people call him. Somebody put this on Twitter that he witnessed history, he made history, and also put the history in a book, which was so powerful to be able to cover so many parts of Black history. He really was live, breathe, ate, drink Chicago Black history. He actually considered Chicago to be the heartbeat of Black America, which was very interesting. And he once said that he wanted to do all of his research. The reason why he did all of his research was to inspire. And that was so beautiful to me because in turn it actually inspired me to want to do more research into a city that I've lived practically my entire life. So rest in peace to the family. Definitely a big loss for the world and the city as well.
102 years old. You know what he's been through, what he's seen, what he's fought for. And even his latter days, he's seen that things hadn't changed much. So I think me saying that, we have to do this, soulmates. We have to come together, continue to push to make sure the things he was fighting for then and in his latter days, we make sure we keep pushing through with that for sure. All right, a recent study conducted by the City University of New York, Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism, found that Black media publishes as much as 6 times more coverage than mainstream outlets on issues of importance to Black communities, including racism, health disparities, and voting access. The study, Why Black Media Matters Now, found that nearly 1 in 4 articles in Black media mention racism or related issues, as compared with less than 10 in mainstream media. The researchers concluded Black media were important in 1827, and they are just as critical today.
Joining us now is the emeritus of the Nmpa, affectionately known as the Black Press, and publisher of the Los Angeles Sentinel and Watts Time, Soulmates. Welcome, Danny Bakewell, Sr.
Well, hello, Niel, and to your colleagues. You guys do a fabulous job.
Thank
and I
you.
really enjoy your show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bakewell. You know, I got most of my journalism experience right there at the LA Sentinel newspaper from you and Miss Brenda and just what you've done for the city at large. So I want you to talk to us about the importance of the Black Press.
That's easy. It's part of my life. The reality is the Black Press is essential, as you guys prove every day when you bring us the words of inspiration and history of Black people. Because as you can see by the statistics that the brother gave, the Black Press is always giving us our news. It's the news from a Black perspective. It's our world. It's the things that we do. It's the things that inspire us. It's the people that inspire us. So there's always, obviously, a place for us in this society. But one of the things we don't get, one of the things that we suffer from is lack of advertising. In spite of the fact that we have inspiring stories, we have historical data that has been left out in many instances, the reality is the Black Press is very, very necessary. We say it's our home where everyone is welcome, but we've got to take care of our business.
We definitely do. And once again, it's an honor to have you on the show today. So let's take it back. Why did you decide to invest in Black media?
Well, you know, it's the difference between talking the good game and playing the good game. The reality is I had the resources when I stepped down from the Brotherhood Crusade, which is my passionate nonprofit that Niel knows me from in Los Angeles. Everybody knows the Brotherhood Crusade. But the reality is I had the resources. The publisher at that time, which was Jennifer Thomas, asked me what I considered buying the newspaper. And initially I said no, I wanted to spend time with my family, my grandkids, etc. But when I thought about it, and she said, look, there's a lot of people that want to buy this newspaper. She said, but I think you're the natural person to really take it to its greatest heights. When I thought about it, talked to my wife about it, we stepped up to do it. We had the money, we put the money in, and we transformed the newspaper in a way that I think everybody in this city and in the country respects the LA Sentinel. It had great, historical lineage before that, but I think we've just built upon that. And it's so necessary. And it was a natural extension for me in terms of all of my civil rights activity, all my economic development, to be able to just fit right in and to tell our story from our perspective.
For our soulmates who aren't familiar, can you talk to them, break down a little bit for them, the NMPA's mission and goals?
Well, first of all, it's to proliferate the nation. It's a nationwide network. There's 250 Black newspapers across the country. So this is a real network that we have. And we want to bring our news to our people. That's our primary expectation. And to make sure that we're telling it in a way that it relates to our community and tells a story that many people are unfamiliar with. But in spite of the fact that we are read by many, many people, we have broad social network reachings at this point, the reality is telling our story is so important because it's so overlooked. As the brother just talked about before, about the term racism or stories on racism. We're telling them every week. This is not a salacious story that we find once a month. We reckon, because we live these stories. What we're printing is what our community lives with. And we try to print the more positive stories. If you want to make the LA Times, shoot somebody. You definitely will make the front page. But if you invent something, the Sentinel is going to carry that just as well. It's going to carry many things that's going on in the community that's not to our liking.
Now I want to transition to food a little bit because the Taste of Soul is actually happening this weekend in Los Angeles, right on Crenshaw. And so it's actually one of the largest Black festivals on the West Coast. Can you let our soulmates who might not know, how did it come to be? How did it start?
Well, Taste of Soul is a brainchild of mine because we had a situation going on in our community, as it goes on in many communities, where anytime we talk about having something in our community, people say, well, you can't do that. It's going to be problems. There's going to be trouble. There's going to be gang fights, etc. My position is, look, these are our children. This is our community, and we should be able to have good times in our community without going to the wine festival somewhere else, going to the bagel festival somewhere else. We can have all the things that we enjoy in our community and bring the community out right in the heart of our community to enjoy. Crenshaw Boulevard is the mecca of Black Los Angeles. We started small. My valiant assistant, Brenda Marsh Mitchell, who has since passed on, she and I collaborated. I told her what I was trying to accomplish. We organized it, and we said to the politicians, who many of them said, well, I don't know if you want to do this. Look, we can do this. We want to invite all of our chefs. You know, many people call our chefs cooks and greasy spoons. We said we want to bring all of our people out and let them display their wares and have something that is really for the family. We put it together. First year we had 15,000 people. Last year, 2 years ago when we had 350,000 people. It is the absolute, bellwether in our community. Everyone enjoys it. And next year we're coming back with the Taste of Soul, bigger and better than ever.
Absolutely. Mr. Bakewell, when you think of Crenshaw, I can't help but think about Taste of Soul. The MLK parade happens over there. Lamert Park, where we have great things there, man. It's amazing.
Yes, it is amazing. And it's something we all relate to. And it should be said, it wasn't a surprise to us, but we've been in existence for like 18 years. And the reality is we've never had one skirmish on the boulevard. Yeah. I mean, the festival is, it's ours, and we embrace it and we treat it accordingly. Now we have the nation out there providing security. We have many, many people in the community. We also have LAPD, but they're behind the scenes. We try to do this with the personnel that we have that live right in our community. It's ours. We take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely do. Now, you've had to reinvent the festival due to COVID-19. What can folks expect this year for Taste of Soul?
Well, tomorrow we're having what we call Taste of Soul's community support and soul. I think that the official name is Community Day of Service and Soul. And we're going to give away food. We're going to give away clothes. We're going to provide meals, some hot meals. We're going to provide cards to people that they can support Black businesses after this is over. The community has always supported us and supported the community. Now we've got to demonstrate that when things are not going well, we have a commitment to support our community, and that's what we're doing. And we're very proud of it. And it's the right thing to do. Aside from all of the fanfare, it's the right thing to do. And Black people need to get on that page. We do what we need, and we do what's right.
Mr. Bakewell, you said something a moment ago, and I want to go back to it because I think it's a really important conversation. I would love to get your perspective. You said if you want to be on the front page of the LA Times, shoot somebody, and obviously kind of pointing to the importance of the Nmpa. But I'm curious, my question to you, someone with your experience, is why do you think that is? Why do you think that that is still the narrative, that there's only, because that's a nationwide problem, right? In
it
media.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. And, look, I mean, obviously, you make statements. I mean, that obviously there are other ways to get into LA Times, but it's not a daily occurrence that you open LA Times and you find things that are positive about Black people. The same is true for the Chicago Tribune and other papers around the country, because that's not their mission. We're not their mission. And we shouldn't sit around arguing about the fact that they don't, we have the Taste of Soul, which Black people all over the country know about. Mm-hmm. The LA Times, to this day, has never printed one word about the Taste of Soul. Mm. They've not focused on the fact that this happens in our community. There are broad sections of people that come out, not only from the Black community, dominated by the Black community, but coming from all communities, because people appreciate our food. They appreciate the kind of innovation we have in terms of our style, our dress, all of those things that we put on display. But the reality is they're not interested in that. They're interested in those other, the wine festival. They're interested in the strawberry festival. They don't report on us, but we don't sit around feeling constricted because they don't. We do our own press.
Right.
And we do the press for anybody else that's doing positive things in our community. We've got to take responsibility for what goes on in our community. And we've got to believe that we can do for ourselves, because that's going to be the ultimate salvation of Black people. We're making a lot of progress, but you have to look beyond the individuals. Danny Bakewell is doing just fine. Clarence Avon's doing fine. Barry Gordy's doing fine. Bob Johnson's doing fine. But the masses of Black people is where we have to have our concentration on. We've got to mentor young Black people to do things. Niele gave us a great tribute because she did work with us. She continues to work with us, we hope. But the reality, and all of you, look at the talent that there is. I'm not a big fan of Fox in some respects, but I love your show.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that they green-lighted your show. And if they do anything except keep the light green, we might have a little something to say about it.
Uh-oh, Mr. Bakewell, I'm going to stop you right there. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we definitely want to continue this conversation with you. Soulmates, Taste of Soul Community Day of Service and Soul is happening this Saturday.
Thank you all, and congratulations again. You guys do a hell of a job.
Thank you so much. But I want to tell them that the Taste of Soul Community Day of Soul is happening this Saturday.
Tomorrow from 8 to 12.
There we go. And for more info,
the car, you have to come in a car because because of COVID. It looks different. So you pass by. We'll put the box right in your car.
Okay, Mr. Bakewell. To learn more about the LA Sentinel, visit lasentinel.net. Soulmates coming up. More news, views, and opinions
Black and
right
be
here
brilliant.
on FOXSOUL.
Keep doing what you're doing.
There we go.
That's Mr. Bakewell, y'all. I can't stop him.